Now we're going to turn our attention to the Iranian Parchin military site, which Iran says is off limits to inspectors of the International Atomic Energy Agency. A spokesman for Iran's Atomic Energy Organization says the IAEA inspectors won't visit Parchin under a recent joint agreement. Behruz Kamalvandi also said that Tehran and the UN nuclear agency have agreed upon 7 practical steps to implement the framework for cooperation. While the two sides sealed the deal last November, the UN nuclear agency says Iran will implement the latest measures by May the 15th. Meanwhile, an Iranian official present at the two-day talks between Tehran and the IAEA says the two parties agreed upon inspectors-controlled visits to the Isaghan uranium mine and Erdogan's yellow cake factory in central Iran. Well, let's cross over to Chicago, joined by author and radio host, Mr. Stephen Linman. Mr. Linman, good to have you with us as always. Let's look at the situation. Now, Iran says that it will not allow its Parchin military site to be inspected. So tell me your take on that. Does Tehran have the right to deny these visits to some of their military sites, or as some might say, they are hinting that they may have something to hide? Your take, sir.
Hi, Mazia. Good to be with you always. Oh, absolutely. Tehran has a right to deny access to a military site. It has nothing to do with what IAEA is doing. It has nothing to do with the interim nuclear agreement. There is no Western country, let alone Israel, that would allow a small fraction of what Iran has agreed to do. I can't imagine any country being more cooperative than Iran with all the inspection requests. But, you know, some are over the top and they have no bearing on what's going on. We're talking about a nuclear situation. Parchin is a conventional military site. It has nothing to do with Iran's nuclear activities. Tehran has every right to say, no. Let's stay out of this. Inspectors have no right to go there. I absolutely agree with that.
Well, let's look at this whole situation now. We see that the nuclear agency in Iran are actually having more talks, and Iran says that, of course, it is willing to talk and deal with these negotiations. In the long run, Stephen, do you see this actually coming out positive or not? Because we're hearing lots of talk out of Washington. Double speak, if we lacking a better word for it. Can Tehran trust Washington and the other members of the IAEA that's being represented in P5+1?
Well, I remember Ronald Reagan used to say regarding the Soviet Union, Marcia, trust but verify. I wouldn't trust Washington. I wouldn't trust Washington on virtually anything. And I've said so often in my articles, Marcia, that Obama repeatedly says one thing and he ends up doing something else. Washington has all the proving to do, Marcia. I will say that Washington will go along with what it promised when I see it do it, Mazia. I have yet to see that happen, so I am justifiably skeptical about exactly what Obama has in mind, let alone the Congress that is just screaming to impose more sanctions that would be a deal killer on the nuclear negotiations. This is what Iran has to put up with. It's a shocking situation, and it's disgusting that major media outlets don't report this and point fingers the right way. Blame Washington, blame Western powers for legitimately sabotaging what needs to be supported. So until Washington proves otherwise, I'll remain very justifiably skeptical as to just what will come out of these talks.
All right. Thank you so much for being with us, author and radio host out of Chicago, Mr. Stephen Linman.